There are just some days where you just feel like all you can do is exhale, right? Literally, that's all you can do. It's like we have one thing that's left that brings us a little bit of, excitement, and even that has to get taken away. Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon and good evening, depending on which part of the world you're on. I wish it was a good day. I wish it was a good evening. I wish we could get excited about wrapping up Crimson Desert. Unfortunately, other events have preceded that. Hello, Vianney Fanti. We have other things to talk about because today is a very dark day for gaming indeed. Very dark. And we have to talk about things that we don't want to talk about, and we have to focus on things that we wish we weren't focusing on and put our attention to that. Why? Because some companies read data, they read things, they read the market, and they think that because certain numbers, certain figures are moving, are showing them some things, that it means that that data is permission for them to take our stuff away. Today's World Cup stuff will have to be pushed back because this issue takes utmost priority. We will be focusing on this issue for quite a bit today. I mean, I keep saying this issue. If you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. You know what happened today on the 2nd of July, 2026. Well, it was actually announced yesterday, on the 1st of July. They waited till the beginning of the month until they dropped their bomb, right? They had to wait. They had to let July come in a really nice way for all gamers. And this is just trailing off Summer Games Fest, right? Where we had all those incredibly exciting announcements, and we were like so hopeful about the future of gaming. Like gaming is, a lot of people were saying gaming is getting back on track. Gaming is, we're getting good stuff again. Nope. No, we are not. All right. So, if you've been living under a rock or you're not really into games, here it is. This is what I've been talking about, and if you still don't know, take it in. I'll give you a second to read that. I'll read it myself. Physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. Do you really want me to go further into that, or does that pretty much explain it for you? We are getting no new discs, no new games on discs, no new physical editions of PlayStation games. And not just games from, because some people have been making this mistake online, not just games from PlayStation Studios, but literally all games on PlayStation consoles, all new games on PlayStation consoles like PS5. I'm sure no one's out there making new PS4 games, but even if they are, then they won't be doing it on discs anymore. And anything for the new consoles either, PS6, which has been rumored to be coming out. We don't know what form it'll be in. PSVR 2, I don't know if anyone's playing PSVR 2, but that won't have physical games anymore. Literally anything that has a physical version, any game that has a physical version will be stopped, will be discontinued from January 2028. So this was a lovely announcement. This was a very nice announcement, which you can see how it's been ratioed in the comments. 6,187 comments, and this was just on the page of the announcement on social media, on Twitter. It got, or X, whatever you want to call it, it got 54,000 replies, and most of them were angry replies. You don't have to take my word for it. Go and read it. Go and check it out for yourself. And however, admittedly, it did get 50,000 likes. I don't know who's liking this, but, these are facts. 50,000 likes. So there are people out there. And admittedly, you can't put the blame on Sony on this. You can't put it entirely on Sony, because that's what the data indicates. That's what the data is telling them. Literally, most sales, 80 to 85% of PlayStation game sales last year were digital. But just because that happened, it does not mean that it gives them permission to take away all our discs, right? All the games that are on a disc. And you don't know why that happened. You don't know under what circumstances people were in, because people are saying, oh, yeah, I've moved to digital because it's more convenient. No, excuse me. Last year, I was living in a country that literally had no physical copies of games like Death Stranding 2 or Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Those games were not sold in stores around me. So I had no choice but to buy them in a digital form. I literally had to, if I wanted to play those games, I had to download them, because otherwise I wouldn't have played them. So yes, it was nice that the PlayStation Store was there. It was a good alternative, but my first option was to buy them physical. I looked for them in stores, and because I didn't find them, guess what? I had to download them. So don't tell me that everyone has switched to digital. It was a nice second choice. It was nice for them to have that, but it might not be everyone's first choice. So yes, admittedly, I was one of those. I was some percentage of that 85%, even though I keep saying that my preference is physical. I did download a lot of games last year. I downloaded games like Journey. I downloaded games like Tales of Vesperia, like Blueprints. I downloaded a lot of games like Jackbox. If I check my PlayStation, I must have downloaded more. I downloaded more games than I actually bought. But the games I downloaded were games that were on offer, on special, or games that I wanted to play on stream, or games that I didn't really care about if I had them or not. Or like Suikoden, which admittedly Suikoden was a nice game. But they were games that I couldn't find. If I wanted to find them in an actual shop, I had to go out of my way. When you're living in Greece, you can't find them. So, admittedly, it was, like I said, it was convenient. But now that I'm here in Australia, I can go to a shop and I can pick them up. So no one can come in and tell me that oh yeah, everyone's moved to digital. We haven't moved to digital. We've moved to digital because it's something that, we do it because we don't have any other choice sometimes. And yes, it's nice that the PS Store is there, but, we don't only want that. Because that means it takes away a lot of our freedoms as customers. And that's what people online have been saying. It's like we don't really own our games if we're just downloading a code, if we're just putting in a code that lets us play a game for a little bit. But, if sometimes we step out of line, or sometimes they want to do an update, or sometimes they want to, I don't know, for 1,000 reasons, or sometimes someone hacks into our account, or the PlayStation Network store is down, which we've seen in many occasions that happens. It's not really dependable. So we could lose access to our games for many reasons. We could lose access to our games, things that we've paid for, right? They could just step in and say, hey, mate, you violated the terms of conditions. We're taking it back. Whereas with a physical game, you buy it and they can't do crap. Okay, maybe there's updates that you don't have access to, or nowadays modern games are a bit more, dependable on the internet. So there could be situations where you might put the disc in and it doesn't actually play unless you download the patch. I'll concede to that, but most of our old games, they didn't have that, and we keep being dependable, and I think gaming companies are making players dependable. It's sort of this like slow addiction. They give you a little bit and then you get more and more of it to the point where you're like a full addict. That's what's happened with digital, and that's what they were trying to enforce with VR as well, but it didn't really work. So like gaming companies, and especially big gaming companies like Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo. Now we're seeing it more with Nintendo. They try to pass these big ideas that like, oh yeah, digital is the future, VR is the future. They're like, when did we ask you about the future? We just wanted you to make games. That's literally your job. That's literally all you have to do. Just make your stupid games. Stop trying to come up with all these cool futuristic ideas or other things to try and make money out of. It's like, just dude, make the machine, make it a bit more capable, where it can become a little bit faster, process games a little bit quicker. The PS5 did that. It was a little bit better than the PlayStation 4, a little bit better than the previous edition, better graphics, better visuals, better audio, better controllers. Do that. No one's asking you to take things away from us. Like literally now the PS6 is taking, and the PS5 and the PS6 are taking stuff away from the player. They're not giving the player anything. I don't think the PS6 can do anything that huge where it can make the player feel more in control of their games or more. What else could it do? Like, apart from giving you access to the cloud, where you can go in and like, oh yeah, with this small subscription, you can play all the games you want. We don't want that. We don't want that. We'll go out. We want the choice to go out, choose the games we want to play, pay for them at that moment where we find them, and play them. We don't want a stupid cloud that gives us access to a bajillion games that we don't care about when we only want to play one or two of them. That service does not work. And honestly, I'm surprised that so many people out there have sorry. Yeah, it's just like all these services, they're pointless, they're useless. And like, I feel like PlayStation is going off of all these numbers, but numbers don't mean and this is something that you see not just when it comes to video games, when it comes to, like, I was thinking about it earlier today, like you see all these announcements, all these decisions from other companies, from like shopping companies or I don't know, safety departments or police or stuff like that like they're doing it for our benefit, right? Like we've seen too many car crashes, so from now on, if you don't wear your seatbelts, we're going to charge you a fine and we're going to take away your license. Or we're seeing too many people on their phones, so there's been too many crashes, so now we're going to fine you for not for being on your phone while you drive. We're seeing too many thingo, so now we're going to fine you for there's too much hate speech online. So now we're going to fine you if you do hate speech online, or we're going to block you from social media. It's like everything is being done for our benefit without us being asked about it. No, we don't want that. Can someone please ask us about something before they make the decision? People keep stepping in. They overstep their boundaries and they're saying that they're doing it for us, but no one's actually asking us if we want it or not. And they're saying they're doing it because the data indicates. Dude, data does not give you permission. Data does not mean it's okay for you to do that. I don't care what the data shows. I care that you're coming in and you're taking away liberties that I have because you think the data says it's a good idea. I don't care what data shows. I have not given you permission to do this. I have not given permission to Sony to take away all my physical editions, which means that I can literally go in and play a game 30 years later. Whereas if it's in a digital edition, 10 years later, if no one's buying it online, they'll be like, just take it down from the library. No one's playing it. No one cares, right? And then if one person wants to go back and play it 20 years later, it won't be there, even though they've paid for it. How is this fair? How is this for the consumer? I don't care if it makes the life of developers easier. That's their job, to make video games. Figure out how to put it on the disc. Give us 3 or 4 discs. That's what they did back in the PlayStation era, the original PlayStation era. We would get games and that would be like 4 discs in there. Even nowadays, games like Death Stranding 2 or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they come in 2 discs. And we're fine with that. We're happy with that. We never told them, take away our games, because that's literally what's happening. And if it's a digital only edition, I mean, hey, Steve, how's it going? If it's a digital only edition, you probably won't get a digital version, like a physical digital version. You'll probably get an online digital version with an online steelbook, an online soundtrack, or an online art book. But who cares about keeping all that online, right? You want a booklet that you can read, and you want, like, for me, playing video games and, being a fan of video games. I don't know, Steve, if you agree with any of this or if you saw the announcement, but good. I mean, could have been better. Like, I saw this announcement, I'm talking about it. But yeah, the whole thing about being a gamer is like going down to the store, seeing what's available, or if you're excited about a game, picking up the game that you're hyped about, seeing what else is available, seeing what else is on the shelves. Maybe a game that you haven't noticed previously, although nowadays with the internet, it's impossible, right? But yeah, getting a game, and reading the booklet, checking out the discs, seeing what else they put in the package, and then being excited on your way home, then booting the disc in, seeing what happens, seeing the opening scene. Now it's just going to be like, okay, get the code, wait for it 2 hours to download, and then you're done. Like, that just seems so cold. It seems like it takes all the life out of being a gamer. It's just a cold process, a cold digital process. You haven't bought a physical games in decades. I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, a lot of us, due to convenience, we may have bought a few games online, but that doesn't give them permission to take away all our physical games. I don't care if it costs more. I don't care. Like, we never agreed to this. And I said it online a few hours earlier, and literally as soon as I saw this announcement, and I'm saying it here as well, from January 1st, 2028, if they don't take back this decision, I'm not buying anything new from Sony, anything new from PlayStation, and overall anything new as a gamer. The reason why is because you can't buy any... Exactly. That's literally what I said. That's literally last year, I wasn't living in Australia last year. I was living in Greece, and I wanted to play games like Death Stranding and Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and they weren't available at my retailers. So what I had to do is I had to download them, but that's what I had to do. My first option was to look for them at my retail stores. So it's not like I wanted to get to download them. If you want physical, you have to order. Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I have to do. Like, I literally... Today I ordered a 007 First Light, and I'm going to go to the shop and get it tomorrow. It takes almost 2 weeks. Well, yeah, you're pretty far. And yeah, you don't want to have to wait 2 weeks to play a game. But yeah. So it's understandable when sometimes you don't have access to games, or you have to wait a long time to play a game. That's understandable. But on the other hand, it doesn't mean that people who live in cities or in areas where you do have access to a retailer, that you can't go and pick it up. And they said that, last year it was only 3% physical. I don't care if it was 0.52% physical. No one gave you permission to shut it down and to take away our physical game libraries. Because if you have it on digital, like I said a little bit earlier, 30 years down the line, you might want to play it, but they'll probably take it down from their library if no one's playing it. You might want to go back and show it to your child, or show it to your nephew, or a friend or something. And that's another thing. You can't really, you can't share games anymore with friends. Like, I don't know how that'll work. I think Sony does have a sort of feature where you can distribute, where you can let someone else play a game. But it's very technical. It's very digital. You remember when physical was the only option? You would have to wait for a friend to pick it up in the States and bring it back to you. Yeah, but didn't that cause excitement? Like, weren't you hyped? I imagine that was before the internet era, right? I don't know. Like, for me, when I would pick up a physical game, and still to this day, it's like the whole thing just, I don't know, it exudes excitement, it exudes hype, it exudes like when I get a game in my hands, admittedly nowadays the internet's probably going to ruin it for you if you don't play it right that second, like right when it comes out. People will probably spoil it for you if you go on YouTube. But still, there's something different to a physical release, right? When you like get to read the booklet or get to see the package, how it is on the outside, or how it's a very cold process when you just enter a code in and wait for it to download and then just play it. It's like a dead process to me. I don't know. And then there's other things as well, like again, how do you share games? Like if you want to give it to someone else, or if you want to resell them, these are things that have been said a lot during the last 24 hours. Like you can't redistribute your games. You can't. It was a great time. It wasn't before the internet era though, but the internet wasn't that advanced yet. Exactly. Like if you've been talking about a great game with a friend, right? And they're like, oh, I'm curious about that. Maybe I'd like to play it, right? And maybe you want to lend it to them. No, you can't. You can't do that. That's gone. Sony maintains ownership of all their games. You're just borrowing it for a little bit for as long as they have it available on the PlayStation Store. And then, it's bye-bye. So there's so many bad aspects to this. And the thing is, the worst part of it is we all willingly agreed to this. We all, it's not, you can't blame Sony 100%. When last year the data showed that 85% of their sales was digital, you can't really point the finger at Sony and say, digital is the best option for where you live. Okay. I'm not saying they should stop digital sales. No one here is saying they should stop digital sales. That's not the argument, right? They're just saying don't take away the physical. I've used digital sales. I've used the PlayStation Store many times. Like I said, last year when I was in Greece, I had to download most of my games. Like the only physical version of a game I got last year was Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered. So literally, but just because we're doing one a little bit more, it doesn't mean you get to take away the other. I mean, okay, I don't use my car that often. I usually walk to work, right? So let's make cars obsolete. What? Does that work? I mean, if 67% of people are using public transport or walking to work, or let's take away all cars. We don't need cars. That's not a solution. That's not, it doesn't work like that. People need options. Exactly. And I'm afraid this hasn't been confirmed yet, but I'm afraid they might stop, third-party companies and developers might stop doing, the deluxe editions or the collector's editions. They might still do it, but you might just get, instead of a CD, you might get a code. But I'm afraid that if it's just a code that comes with the game, they might just be like, it's not worth it. Just give them a digital copy, a digital deluxe copy with an art book, and that's that. We don't care about that. But ultimately, though, what is the point of having a console? What is the point of buying a PS5 or a PS6 if it doesn't play games? If all you need is a code? Just stick to your PC, go on Steam, it has better offers, and just play there. There's no point in having a PlayStation if you're only going to be digital. I don't know. And see, further to my point about libraries going down and them maintaining 100% ownership on their games, here's what they did. Look, an update on PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita. After nearly 2 decades of supporting the PS3 console generation, wanted to let you know that we'll be closing the PlayStation Store on PS3 as well as on PS Vita. They took it down. They literally took it down. All of those games on PS3 and PS Vita that were available digitally, they're not available anymore. It's done. It's done. As the PlayStation Store continues to evolve to support modern commerce systems, including updated payment processing standards, PS3 and PS Vita are no longer able to support these updates at the level required. As a result, we will need to close PlayStation Store on these devices in the timeframes as follows. Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. PlayStation Store on PS3 will close starting August 2026. In all other countries, PlayStation Store on PS3 and PS Vita will close in July 2027. So if you have a PS3 or PS Vita, you will not be able to access any game. You will not be able to access the store, the PlayStation store at all. That's what they're doing, and that's what's going to happen with other consoles. You do not own your games. You buy a game, but you're essentially renting it, and they can take ownership away from you at any time that they want. No backward compatibility. Forget about that. That's literally what's happening. They're taking the games away from us. Whereas I have a PS3 and I have a whole bunch of games for my PS3 and I can play them whenever I want. I just plug it in, stick the disc in, and, off I go. Like Final Fantasy 13, yeah, for sure. It sucks. It sucks what they're doing. And they're doing this based on metrics. I don't care what the data shows you. I didn't ask you for this. I didn't ask Sony for this. I want to be able to go back and access the PlayStation Store with my PS3. Maybe I want to play, maybe, I don't know, 20 years later, I want to download a game for my PS3. There's a lot of people out there playing PS Vita. Why are they doing this? Who said they could do this? See, this is why you see me and I'm so angry. I'm so vividly angry because they're telling people that you no longer can access your games. And that is something I feel it's worth getting outraged about. And I'm repeating it. From January 21st, 2028, if they don't backtrack on their decision, I'm not a gamer anymore. Like, I'll just play anything that's on the backlog. Any old games that are out there, there's plenty of them. There's thousands of games out there that we haven't had the chance to play. I'll stick with those. Anything that has a physical release, I'm not playing any of their digital garbage. Like if it's a new game that I want to play, I want the whole experience, right? Why do you think I spent $100 and close to $200 on Crimson Desert? Because I wanted the full release. And you had people. This was an interesting post. Where was it? I'm not playing. Not if it doesn't come on a disc. No. No Witcher 4. No, I'm waiting. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Final Fantasy 7 Revelation comes out on the disc. Because if it doesn't, I won't be playing it. Where was it? Is it this?
There's a lot of people on the internet that care a lot about physical media, and they care so much about it that they never buy it. And any of these people that are talking about how much they love video games and buying video games, I want you to show me the last 10 video games you bought, and I want you to show me the box that you bought them in.
All right. Look, he asked for it, right? Let's go. 1. Because he really, this post really annoyed me, right? So he said 10 games. Okay, 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. I also have this in the deluxe edition, but this is the separate version. 8. 9. And a deluxe edition for you. Here you go. Crimson Desert. 10. Is that enough for you? Is that good enough for you? I don't know. Like, do you want more? Like, and again, as I mentioned, last year I did not have access. Are all those this year? Some of them are from the year before. As I said, last year I didn't have access to video games, to physical editions of video games because I was in an area that did not sell physical copies of certain video games like Clair Obscur or Death Stranding 2. But, 10 games. That's what he said. He said 10 games in their boxes. These are 10 games in their boxes. I don't know what else he wants. Like, because he says that people aren't buying video games anymore. Physical editions of video games. I think these count. And I've got another, probably, if I look in there, I'll probably bring out another 50. So, yeah. And literally, if you look online, if you go on social media, you'll see people. I've seen people all day posting their yeah. It's not just me. No, go away. So this is my collection. And the metrics show not that many people. Well, I don't know. I've been looking online, and you know, this is just under a post that I made. There's been a lot more. So, I mean, I understand, yes, more people have moved to digital. However, in 2024, which was just a year earlier, most people were buying physical. So that just happened within a year. You can't make that decision within a single year. It's just 1 year. If it was within 5 years that everyone had switched to digital, and the data showed that there's no interest, that no one in the world is buying physical anymore, and that all shops are closed, I understand that, I understand it. Maybe. But within just 12 months, you're making that decision that no one buys physical anymore? I don't buy that. Look at all these collections. Look, there's a whole bunch of PS5s here, PS5 games here. You can't just tell me that it's like 20 people that buy physical games. The whole internet is in an outrage today. There wouldn't be any outrage if no one bought physical. We'd be like, yeah, cool. Okay, these are old games, but you understand what I mean, right? Like, it's not. They're killing a whole industry. They're taking away ownership of game, and it's not just like, it feels like everything's sort of moving in that direction. It feels like a lot of things are moving in that direction. Like, they don't sell DVDs anymore. You have to subscribe to Netflix or Disney Plus or any of the 500 subscription services that are out there, right? They don't sell, I don't know, football games. They're not on TV anymore, right? You have to subscribe somewhere to watch them. Everything's become a subscription service. Like, even our food, we have to subscribe to a service. So the metric, about 30 million PS users still buy physical and 76 million buy digital. Yeah, all right, let's check it out. There is still a market. Yeah. All right, let's check it out. Estimate 13 to 18 million people bought physical games for the PlayStation 5. While the exact total number of individual users is not public, industry reports show that approximately 72 to 78 of all PlayStation software sales were digital. This left physical discs with a roughly 22 to 28% market share. That's still good. The best places to trade in old disc games. No, I'm not trading them in. Out of curiosity. Look. This was 2024. Physical PlayStation games accounted for nearly 70 million sold units. Oh, digital releases made up 70 to 80% of all PlayStation game sales. Oh, okay. Let's see. How's the trend been going? It's not public. It just didn't. Yeah. Only about. Really? So it's been an ongoing trend. Game industry shifted from physical discs to digital download. So this has been going on from the age of COVID, has it? It allows them to play without leaving their couches or swapping out discs. So this has actually been going on for a long time. I thought it was just the last year. No, this has been going on for a really long time. In 2023, only 40%. Across physical media made up. No, even in 2023, less than 20%. People are buying fewer discs because digital downloads are instant and convenient. 2022? I don't think there's any data. 21%. Yeah. 80%. Well, I suppose we've made the trade. I suppose we've made the trade for a while now. I mean, yeah. Honestly, the trade has been made. Like the exchange and it's really disappointing to see that, though. It's really disappointing to see those figures. Like it hasn't just been for the last year. It's been almost for the last decade. It's been going on for the last decade. People just don't want to go to the. I think it's been going on from COVID, and literally that whole generation of people from COVID onward, they just don't want to leave the house. Like I'm talking about the experience of going to the store and picking up the game from there. Literally, that is non-existent to them. Digital is cheaper for Sony, so I could see them cashing in on that trend. But the thing is, games will definitely not get cheaper for the consumer. If anything, they'll get more expensive. So it's not like we're winning on this. It's not. We're going to come out as the losers. And it's for our own benefit. It's because the data indicates it. But we did make the trade. If it's been consistently over 80% for the last 5 years, it's hard to point the finger at Sony and say, why are you doing this? The data does show it. We are not winning. But it's just really hard to come to term with the fact that we won't be getting this anymore. We'll just be getting a little number on a piece of paper or on a screen, and that'll be our game. And it'll be something that they could just take away because, we wrote something on Twitter that they didn't like. We made a post on Twitter. They'll have those rules. They'll be able to enforce those types of rules now as well. Like, social misconduct. There was social misconduct on your behalf, so we're taking away the game because we don't want to associate with those types of players. They make more from digital. Yeah, of course they make. Well, if it's 80 to 20%, of course they make more. But then all game retailers are going to shut down. Literally all game retailers are going to shut down. Because what are they going to be selling? Codes. Because now they sell discs, right? You go and you buy the disc. But if it's just a code, then essentially Sony's cutting off the middleman. The box and the disc cost money. Of course they cost money. But yeah, now we won't be getting those. So, yep, we're done. We're cooked. So we'll be getting a disc. We'll be getting a code that, as we can see here, Sony can take away from us at any time, or they can just take away access from any games that they think we don't play, or any game that they want to update, or whenever the internet doesn't work, And that's the future of gaming. It's just so sad to see it all go down that way. Like, we settled for digital because it was convenient, right? Because it was easier to access, yes, but that doesn't mean that we signed a contract that said take away all physical games. However, on the other hand, it is Sony who's running the company. It's their company, so we can't turn around and say to them, the only thing we can do, and like I'm doing, right, is just to stop buying games. I'm not going to support this. You remember the movie era pan out the same way? Well, yes, but that was actually convenient, right? Or at least we thought it was convenient. Like when Netflix came out, when movies stopped being on DVDs and CDs because you had to go out and buy a movie on the DVD, it seemed a little bit more convenient that we have everything in one service. But we saw how that worked out, right? No one does that anymore. because then the subscription wars broke out, and that's literally what's going to happen here. There could be a gaming subscription war that could break out from this. It's not going to be good. You still have movie DVDs and VHS. Yeah, so do I. So do I. I still have some Blu-rays that I watch on my, like, ironically, I watch them on my PS5 because I have the disc and the PS5 plays Blu-rays. But yeah, that's what happened. It's like we thought Netflix was so cool, like it was so fancy and glittery, and the idea of it was good. But then everyone else came out and did the same thing. So literally, what's blocking Amazon or Disney or Paramount or literally anyone else from doing what Sony's doing? They could create their own services. They could create their own platforms where they put their video games. So third-party services third-party developers. I never bought a Blu-ray. I had one back in the day. I had one. So anyway, third-party developers could become first-party developers. And instead of putting games on Sony's platform from where you download them to play them, they could create their own platform and be like, you know what? Download them from here. Play them here. So now Paramount's gone into gaming and they're making their own games, and they could be like, you know what? Instead of playing them on Sony, no, play them on us. And then Disney can make their own games. And then, I don't know, maybe Rockstar can make their own. It doesn't end because you know why? Everyone wants a piece of the pie. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. And you'll be like, I have to pay a subscription to 20 different platforms because I want to play 20 different games. I don't want to miss out on the games. It's going down a very dark path right now. Whereas if you only have one platform that plays the games with the CDs, then all those companies have to agree with that one platform that creates the hardware that plays the games. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, but we were safer. We were safer when everything was physical. Now we're just agreeing to streaming service wars started during the pandemic. Yep. And they will continue. They will continue. Like, they're still going on. They're still going on. Like, as a football fan, here in Australia, I don't know what it's like over in the US, but here in Australia, I need a different subscription service to watch the Champions League and the Premier League, a different subscription service to watch the Australian League, and a different subscription service to watch the Greek League. Because don't forget, I'm Greek, and sometimes I watch those teams too. 3 different services. So yeah, that's the future. That's the future. Honestly, we need to go, the pandemic was so disastrous on so many different levels. Like it had ripple effects, had after effects that we're still going through, that we're still experiencing. It's not something that, we stayed home for 2 years and everything just went by. No, it had serious effects. Like, people learned to live a life of convenience, a life of isolation, and not do anything for themselves and have everything delivered to them. And this is the result now. Like, 5 years later, people only download video games, but anyway. I just wanted to talk about that and just vent a little bit and get it off my chest, because that 2 years felt like forever. Yeah, I know, but I'm telling you, the as bad as it was, the worst things came after COVID. Things, because people got used to living that way. They got used to living the life of complete isolation, of convenience, of everything having to be brought to them rather than having to go out to get it. And we also got a whole generation of people living with mental health issues and anxiety around other people because they weren't used to seeing other people, right? So then for them, going to the store or going down to a shopping center or being around other people, it caused them anxiety because they weren't used to it. They were used to being in a bubble, in a room for 2 years. Or, even if they had to work, they worked through screens and all that. So these are the after effects. Yes, everything digital. We want everything digital so we don't have to go outside and, associate with people and have awkward conversations. Remote work started trending too. I know. I am completely against the idea of remote work, even though I've done it as well. I'm completely against the idea of remote work because it's not fair. It's not fair because, like, if you're someone that works in an office, you could work remotely. But if you're a plumber, an electrician, or someone that has to do physical work, you actually have to go there. You actually have to go into the office and work. So it's sort of like a double standard. It's not fair. If only half the people can do remote work, then it's not fair on the other half. So either everyone does it or no one does it. For me, that's how I see it. But again, I did remote work too from my previous job. I could work from home, but I'm telling you, I made the conscious decision to not work from home because honestly, I didn't feel like I was as productive. When I would work from home, I would find excuses to get off my desk and just screw around and do other stuff. But that's not actually working, is it? It's just half working. Yeah. I mean, I understand if you definitely need to work from home, like if you broke your leg or something, knock on wood, it's good to have that option. But doing it for reasons, what? Anyway, I don't know. I feel like I'm talked out about this. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that at least up until January 2028, all games will have physical versions because I want to support them. I want to do my part. I want to show that there is still a space for physical games out there. Like there are still so many retailers and so many small indie developers that are putting their games on physical on disc and that are selling games on disc. Once January 2028 hits, all that's going to be wiped out off the map in one swoop, right? Think about so many small gaming stores out there. Think about it's just like, no, we're not making money off it. We're stopping it. I don't know. PlayStation used to be for more about more than the money. Like I remember back in E3 20, when was it? Let's see if we can find it. I don't think Witcher 4 will come out before. Well, then I'm not playing Witcher 4. Unfortunately, you're not going to see it on this channel. Honestly. And the thing is that probably a lot of developers out there already knew about this decision beforehand. And they've probably been making their games, with that in mind. Like they've probably been like, Sony's probably informed them. And they've all been like, cool, let's put it on the cloud. And people can play it from the cloud. Who was it? There was a video. It's probably trending. Even Max Dude is saying this is bad. I bet it's trending. No. PlayStation Showcase 2021. How to trade. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Everyone's watching this. Look at this.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
You used to be great, Sony.
Thanks.
PlayStation.
Oh my god, they did that to troll Microsoft because Microsoft wanted to enter the digital era really early, and they tried to go full digital in 2021, and they got this sort of backlash. Yeah, you just saw that too. Yeah, so they got the backlash, they copped it, and then a few hours later, Sony came in and they pulled that video out because they were like, PS4 is full physical, like we have full discs, and they pulled that video out with Shuhei Yoshida and that other guy. I don't remember his name. I think it was Andrew House, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, everyone was just like, epic trolling, bro. And now a few years later, that same video comes back to bite them in the ass. It's funny how life works out sometimes. I'm sure a lot of people will continue to support Sony in this move. I'm sure a lot of people will be like, hey, I've already moved to digital, bro. Like, I don't care. This means nothing to me. I'm sure most people, even most gamers, I'll go as far as to say the data indicates that most gamers will be fine with this. But, for that small community, and I think it's especially the older community of gamers that have always bought their game and have always done their best to buy their games uh, in physical condition, so they can maintain them, so they can have them in so they can look at them when they wake up, so they can look at them, or have access to them whenever they want. And for the gamers that have been supporting Sony from the earliest generation, from the PlayStation 1, buying a whole bunch of games, a whole different type of games, and, sharing those experiences and supporting Sony every step of the way from the PlayStation era all the way to now, this is a huge FU. This is a huge middle finger. This is like they're telling them, we don't care about you anymore. We only care about the modern gamer, and we only care about chasing trends. We got the money from you, and we're done with you. We don't care if you stick around because you're now the only like a 15% of the market. So you can go away now. We're done with you. We got your money. Have fun. So that's why this decision sort of like stings a little, because back in the day, Sony used to represent something. It used to be like the best place to play the games. You used to hear like PC Master Race, and they were like, you're like, your last physical game, you loaned a friend, and he loaned a friend, and you never saw it again. Well, yeah, but it's like, I understand that, but you have funny stories like that to say. That's happened to me too. I loaned, what was it? I don't even remember which game it was. I gave it to a friend, and he just kept it because I forgot to go back and ask for it. It wasn't the game I really cared about though. But he came to my house one day and he saw it there, and he was like, "Oh my God, I think it was something with space, deep space. No. It had something with space in it, in the name. It was kind of like a horror game, and I don't even remember how I got it. Anyway, Dead Space 9, Dead Space 3, something like that. And anyway, so yeah, he took it, and I never saw it again. So yeah, but yeah, it just feels like a huge middle finger to us older gamers. The only good thing out of all this is these games, these physical conditions, and especially the older ones, are going to skyrocket in value. So, like, I can see me selling my old PS2 and the games, putting them on eBay in about 10, 20 years, if I'm still around, knock on wood, and getting a good 50 grand for them because they're not going to be around anymore. And I have a PS2, a PS3, I have a PS4. They're all in perfect working condition. I have a whole bunch of games for them. They could be put in a museum, and yeah, I could get a good buck for them. That's the only thing that's going to happen. The old consoles, they're going to skyrocket in value. So if you've got any, hold on to them, keep them, maintain them like your life depends on it. Don't let anything happen to them. Because we're now moving into an era where you will own nothing. You will have nothing. I'm pretty sure they don't even need to release a PS6, They could just put out codes, and we could just play codes on a PS5. Like, what is the point of having a PS6? Anyway. Believe I've rambled long enough. I really wanted to get this out of my system because literally from like, I came off stream last night, and the first thing I saw was this, like this big thing here looking at me in the face, telling me that, okay, we're done with physical disc production. And I was like, what the hell, man? And it just kept building up, So it's good that I was able to come on stream and vent a little bit and get all these thoughts. PS6 equals more power, more processing power. Just get a PC. Just get a PC. And in fact, you might find even more offers on Steam. You'll see, I bet any money you like, that they end up losing money from this and losing customers. It's not going to work out for them. I'm pretty confident on this. Like, you can see there's a lot of outrage right now on social media, but it's not just gonna stay there. It's gonna hurt them on a financial point. And when it starts hurting them in the pocket, which is literally the only thing these companies understand, when it starts burning their pocket, that's when they'll start regretting it. But, by then it'll be too little, too late. Too late. What are they going to do? Come back and say, oh, you know what? Actually, we are putting discs. You can't. Once you do this, you can't go back from it. Like maybe they have maybe a month or two to sort of retract it or reframe it. Maybe say, I don't know, sort of repackage it in a way that sort of protects consumers from losing their products. I don't know. PC6 equivalent PC is more expensive. PS6 equivalent PC is more expensive. Yes, but on the other hand, the games might be more cost effective. I don't know. I would put it that way. As a consumer, I've lost all faith in PlayStation and in Sony. I don't know. And do you really think the PS6 will be cheap? It's not going to be anywhere. It's going to be at least 1,200. At least, with everything going on with the Iran war and Trump imposing tariffs on everyone. It's going to be at least 1,200 because the microconductors they've gone out of they've become really expensive. So nothing's going to be cheap. Like it's going to be super expensive, and you won't be able to buy anything. It's just going to be like a modem. It's going to be like a modem where you have the modem sitting on some counter or anything or whatever. And it's just going to be standing there gaining dust, and you'll be like, literally, that's what's so sad about this. Not cheap, but cheaper than a PC equivalent. Well, I mean, first of all, we don't know what the processing power of the PS6 is going to be in order to put it next to an equivalent PC. But I still think the PC will be, and this is literally the first time I've ever said this about a PlayStation, but I think the PC will be the better way to go. Like if you put them next to each other. Because PC will have access to a wider range of games. Like if you go on Steam, you'll be able to access older games. Whereas PlayStation Store now does stuff like this. I don't think Steam does that. And if Steam doesn't do it, there's other services you can use via PC, like GOG, like other things. I'm not saying that people are always playing old games, right? But there is a market for old games. Judging from PS5, it's cheaper than... Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But like, go out, buy a PS5 Pro, and then add to that the disk drive for the PS5 Pro. Anyway, like I said, that's Xbox. Who even buys Xbox nowadays? Why would you buy an Xbox? What, for the incredible first-party titles? Anyway, Xbox is an entirely different story. They're about to fire a whole bunch of people from Xbox. Literally, it's going to get announced in one of the next few days. A whole bunch of people are about to get fired from Xbox. Sony just fired a whole bunch of people from Bungie. Like, what's going on with this industry? Can you make one decision that's good? Can they make one good decision? Can we come out one day and say, oh, you know what? That's awesome. And the funny thing is, I don't mention it on stream. I rarely come out and say that, like, this happened or that happened, because you like to keep it positive, right? But when you constantly see it, they did this, they did that, the other thing, and no one buys Xbox, but you have a Series X that you bought in 2022 and you never use. No, I'm kidding, you might use it. It's just become an industry that, you know what happened with the gaming industry, and I was talking about it earlier today. It overinflated way too quickly during COVID because we were all sitting at home playing video games, right? And we were buying video games, and it was just like they were raking in the money faster than they knew what they could do with it. So the industry grew unbelievably fast, exceedingly fast, right? So they thought that they had the world at their feet. But then after COVID, guess what? We had to go back to work. So we didn't have time to play video games. You mainly play third-party games? Yeah, me too. Oh, you mean on the Xbox? Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't have that much first-party content, does it? Anyway, so when COVID ended and we needed to go back to work, we didn't have time to play or buy video games like Crimson Desert. And they started losing money. The revenue started dropping. All that money that was pouring in during COVID, it started slowly dropping, and then slow became fast, because that money that was going into video games was coming out of other areas, like the money that they put in from their vacation, for example, the yearly vacation, it would go into video games because they couldn't travel during COVID. But then they could travel, or they could do other things. So they stopped playing video games, because during COVID, I knew people who had never touched a PlayStation in their lives, and they were on video games. They were playing video games as well, because they were like, there's nothing else. There's literally nothing else to do. I can't go out of my house. I can't go for a walk. I can't do anything. But then all that became accessible again, and they dropped the controller. So, it wasn't such a booming industry anymore. It went back to the levels it was in, 2019 before COVID. But it became like I don't know how to explain it. They thought they had more money and more power than they actually did. So the COVID bubble did a lot of damage to the gaming industry. And that's why you're seeing so many layoffs, because during COVID, they thought that, oh, look, everyone's playing video games. Well, that wasn't the truth. And that's why a whole bunch of indie developers were popping up here and there and everywhere, because they were trying to get in. They were trying to get a piece of the pie. They were trying to get in on the market. But that market didn't really exist. It doesn't make your kind of games. You only bought it 4 years ago. You thought Fable and Arc 2 were going to be exclusives. Oops. Oopsies. Anyway, so that's essentially what happened. A whole bunch of studios opened up, and maybe they'd release one good game or two, but then they ended up being, they ended up flopping afterwards. And the gaming industry wasn't as huge as they thought it was. Like, gamers weren't buying that many games. And then in order to deal with that, they had to make games more expensive because of the fact that they weren't bringing in as much money as they thought. So they tried to milk the people. They tried to make more money out of the people that were actually buying video games. So they upped the price. And then the whole issue with the microconductors occurred as well. So that's why you're seeing so many layoffs. You don't play shooters. Yeah, Xbox, Microsoft really do love their shooters, like State of Decay and all that. Ugh. I don't like shooters either. I've never played a Call of Duty in my life. But anyway, yeah, that's the cause of all this. I don't know if there's any going back. Like, I don't know. If you're someone that plays only digital games, you probably don't care about this announcement. But personally, for me, this really stings. I hope they do something to soften the blow. I really do. Because this is just why am I talking about it? Game announces its defense of physical games. Like, this is the game store in UK. Sony's done with physical games. We aren't. Seeing a lot of who even buys PS5 discs post today. What indie title would you like to see on the topic of physical media? How games change. PS4 supports used games. Huge applause. PS4 won't impose any new restrictions on your use of PS4 game discs. My PS1, PS6 game collection is going to look sick. Nothing for the PS6. Look, my timeline is literally filled with this. It's literally this. It's nothing else. Fire the Sony and PS leadership. PlayStation currently facing multiple class action lawsuits. I don't really know how much I trust these, but the lawsuits are based on the accusation that PlayStation Store is a monopoly. Even Hideo Kojima posted about this. Even Hideo Kojima. And the thing is, Kojima's post. Wait, I think I actually reposted that. I retweeted that. The thing is, he's so ahead of the times. He made that retweet back in 2021. Let me show you. This is what he said. And again, look, it's in 2021, August 6th. He predicted this years ago. Eventually, even digital data will no longer be owned by individuals on their own initiative. Whenever there is a major change or accident in the world, in a country, in a government, in an idea, in a trend, access to it may suddenly be cut off. We will not be able to freely access the movies, books, and music that we have loved. I would be a have-not. That's what I'm afraid of. This is not greed. He said it like, jeez. Some people are just visionaries. Some people can see the future. Like, that's why we need to hold them in higher regard. It's insane that he said that 4 years ago. Like, what? No, 2021, 5 years ago. And here we are now. Oh, man. Why did the market condition? This is literally all I've been seeing on my timeline all day long. So, anyway. All right, let's put it to bed. Enough